So you got yourself a Lexus GX460 like the one next to me, and you're all ready to start adding modifications, kind of like what you see here, but not so fast. Today I'm going to talk about my number one most regrettable modification that I've done on this Lexus GX460. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're just going to talk about the number one mod that I regret doing on this Lexus GX460. Before we can get into that, we have to first establish the two primary types of practical off-road modders out there. In other words, people who are going to modify for a practical use. In other words, function over form. And these two camps are generally the Overland modificator. Yeah, I guess that's the word, modificator. The Overland modifier, let's go with that. The Overland modifier and the off-road modifier. The difference between overlanding and off-roading is established pretty much. You know, I know it's kind of a subjective thing and people are kind of confused, but or may be confused. But generally speaking, an overlander is concerned with camping, getting to a beautiful place in nature, enjoying nature, stopping, camping for the day, camping for the night. They're going to bring a lot of gear with them, camping equipment, lots of recovery equipment, lots of lights, lots of stuff. These are overlanders. They're concerned about getting to that beautiful destination by going down an off-road trail, but their main concern is where they're going to go. Those are overlanders. Off-roaders are, on the other hand, are concerned with the trail itself. We are in the off-roading camp. In other words, we don't care about camping. There's no roof rack on this because we don't carry anything to camp with. We're concerned about the trail itself. What trail are we going to go to? What's the difficulty level? Of course, we're concerned with the beauty, but our main focus and goal is to enjoy driving on that trail, reach the end of the trail, turn around, come back, and go spend some time in the town or go back home or somewhere else. We're not going to be spending the night. This is the driving experience of the trail itself, which is paramount to us and those who enjoy off-roading. So let's get right to it. The biggest modification that we regret being in the camp that primarily focuses on off-roading is that we didn't use aluminum for the bumper and the skids. Now, let me explain. When you're primarily concerned with off-roading, in other words, the trail itself, and then, you know, also by default, you're also concerned with the on-road performance as well. When you start adding these steel bumpers like this DV8 bumper you see here, which is a great bumper, it's no knock against the bumper itself, or the RCI skids, which are also steel, we added those underneath. You start adding a lot of weight, and this weight takes away from an already, a vehicle that's already heavy to begin with, but it adds more weight to it and takes away any nimbleness, any sort of neutral type of feeling or handling that it had from the factory. Now, of course, going into this, we knew steel is heavier than aluminum and that we'd have to deal with a heavier car. What I want to press upon in my point today is just how much difference that makes. In other words, we knew that steel is going to make it heavier, but we weren't prepared for just how much that changes the characteristics, specifically the handling characteristics of the GX460. As soon as you add the steel bumper, it feels like you have a baby elephant on the nose of your GX. Yes, you get used to it. I don't notice it anymore, but I do miss the stock GX handling without all that weight. That stock GX has a nice centralized, almost magic carpet type of handling. It has a neutral balance to it, and you lose that both on and off-road when you add this big steel pig on the front. When you add also the rock sliders on the side, which are also steel, then you add more weight to the side, so on and so forth. You get the idea. We did, after that front skid and the sliders, realize that too much weight was being added, and we switched to aluminum. So underneath, the transmission skid is aluminum, the gas tank skid is aluminum, and the weight savings, you know, it didn't make it worse, but obviously it's not going to delete the existing steel. So had we known this ahead of time, how much of a difference it would make for our application specifically, which is off-roading, we would have went with aluminum. I do sorely miss the lightness that you feel with when this bumper was plastic and all this steel stuff was on it. You know, is it a deal breaker? No, but it's one of those things that could make the car about 10-15% better both on and off-road if you go ahead and go with aluminum. The weight savings, I don't know what the difference was. It 3 times lighter, but it's a lot lighter, and it does make a difference. One of the major complaints that anybody who modifies, whether it's this or a 4Runner, as soon as they start adding the steel stuff, the roof rack, the ladders, the skids, the bumpers, first thing they're going to notice is, man, it's heavy. Man, there's a weight difference. And of course, it affects your MPGs as well. Now, let's say you're overlanding. Well, none of this would actually probably apply to you because you're going to be more concerned with stuff and gearing up and loading up anyway. So that, you know, extra 10-15% of better handling, you're going to trade that off most likely to have that extra protection, because steel does protect better than aluminum as far as bashing. You're going to be okay with that trade-off because you're going to be more concerned with getting to your destination, and you're going to be loaded up anyway. But for people who are off-roaders, meaning you want to off-road, you want to get the best of the off-road experience like us, you're not going to camp, and then you want to get back on and have that wonderful KDS feel and that wonderful balance when this thing starts feeling like a Miata. Not really, but you know, it feels unbelievably balanced and flat for what it is. You know, if you cherish that, both that lightness and balance both on and off-road, consider aluminum. Yes, there's going to be a decrease in strength, but not that much. And something else, as you get better, as your skills improve, you'll do less bashing and skidding on these plates. It just takes the stress out of the situation. Go ahead and get some aftermarket. Box sliders kind of. As you improve, you're not going to hit your skids as much, therefore aluminum is okay. So that's what we wish we could have done differently. Now, it's not a judgment, do whatever you like, but do remember that obviously steel is heavier, but you may not realize how much that extra weight and extra stock lightness, or the lightness you could get with aluminum, means to you until you do it. The good thing, of course, about mods is you could always undo them. When we get rid of this bumper, or if we do in the sliders and stuff, we could just replace it with aluminum. Okay, so do the application, do what works for you. Let me know what you think in the comments, whether you prefer steel or aluminum, whether you've experienced this heaviness issue, whether it bothers you or not. If you found this video helpful, please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you, and have a great day.